And for a number of years, I was a special education teacher in US and counselor. And I came across so many kids who went through exactly what she went through after her accident. Then, in counseling, I'm still coming across kids who may not have a physical disability, but they have been ruined by the pressure that is put on them. And she said something interesting about, when you get 98 points and the parent wasn't very happy. I had a kid that a couple of months ago, he came and he said, no matter what I do, it's never good enough for my mother. If I get 98, it's why didn't you get 100? What happened to the 2 points? Just like what she said. And this boy started to cry. I keep a pack of tissues or napkins in each of the drawers of the school where I go, because more boys are coming and crying now, because they're taught from a young age, boys don't cry, be a man. So they stuff it down, they stuff it down, they stuff it down. Meantime, the smallest little thing that happens to a girl, she's free to cry, and mommy will comfort her, daddy will comfort her, grandma, grandpa will comfort her, and she can constantly release all that pain and her anger and her hurt. Whereas the boy has to keep stuffing it down. And I've done classes on this, and also one-to-one in counseling, where I say to them, and what happens to all of that anger that has been pushed down from the age of 3? Every boy tells me, anger. I get messages from teachers, I'm bringing this boy to you because he can't control his anger. By the time I get through with the counseling session, he's in tears in my office and I'm giving him a Kleenex. And I say, cry, get it out. Don't cry in public where you think you'll be ridiculed, but go home, tell your family I'm gonna wash up, go in the bathroom, turn on the shower, cry your eyes out, turn it off, and get going. Because the thing is, boys have tear ducts just like girls. They have feelings just like girls. It's the human condition. It's not male, female, or any of the other genders. So when a kid feels, I can't do this, it's not good enough, my father's going to be upset. So many boys tell me, I say, you're really close to your mother because Indian boys, let's face it, there's God and mom, pretty much even. Dad, they tremble. Well, he talks to me about how are your marks? What are your marks? What are your plans for the future? But very little heart to heart with the child. And every child that comes into this world comes in with their own destiny, their own level of energy, their own interests, their own abilities. Our job is to nurture those and bring them up to fruition so they can fulfill their destiny, not try to make them like me. I don't mean me, I mean mom or dad. So when you do that, when you try to do that, the child becomes emotionally crippled. He might not have any outward physical sign, but it'll come out in his attitude, in his feelings. He may act out, or he may withdraw. Either extreme is not good. So they end up in the counselor's office, where I give them permission to feel, and that it's okay. Now, when we're talking about special ed, in America, it's different. In our public school system, they have schools that have classes for specific disabilities. I used to work with severe behavior problems. We had from KG to 5th standard in that school. And I always thought, I don't know, I don't think I could do well with 3rd and 4th grade. You know, I like the older kids. And one year I got my assignment, and it was 3rd and 4th grade. I ended up not wanting to teach any other grade because that's the age, 7 years old, 8 years old, where reason and logic come to play. Prior to that, you know, the kid, you say, oh, do this or don't do that, and they'll say, okay, and they'll do it or not do it. But at that age, they want to know why. And I remember my own dad, he never told me to do or not do something without the explanation so that in the future, I would know how to make a decision for my own well-being, not just follow the crowd and get drawn into all kinds of things that would get me into trouble. So since my specialty was working with emotionally challenged kids, I started to study their individual education plan. It's called an IEP, where the parent, the psychologist, the teacher, the principal, a whole crew get together and they put together a plan for each individual child that has a disability. And I began to see something's not right, because they would give me the worst behavioral kids the beginning of the year, which would usually start around August. The end of the year would be June. Around March or April, as we're walking in a line to the cafeteria, one boy would say to me, Miss Swami, they used to call me Miss Swami. They thought I was named after the Swami River in Florida. And he'd say, look at those 4th grade kids, how they're acting. And we'd all look over, and sure enough, the 4th grade, their line was a mess. They were fighting, they were pushing. And I would turn and say, because I was on your case from the day you came in, first day of school, and I never let up, you are the model class. So one day, the psychologist came in, she said, I don't understand it. Every March or April, you have the perfect class. What do you do that's different? Because even the lower ones in the 5th standard didn't achieve that level of behavior. I said, you know what? I love them. They know it. They let me discipline them because they know where it's coming from, a place of caring, and that's the result. You balance out nurturing with discipline, but not harshness, not abuse. It all comes from the heart. And I started telling people, I don't do anything. I just teach from the heart. And I love my students. I really did. I loved every single one that I've had. And they've all done so well. So then by February, I'll say, you know what? Your best subject, your strong subject is math. I'm going to send you to your grade level, 3rd or 4th grade, regular class. We'll try it out and see how you do. Because these kids were all removed because they would just destroy a class every single day with their behavior. The teacher had to keep stopping. The other kids didn't learn. They were labeled. They were criticized. They were dragged to the principal's office. I never had to send one of my students to a principal's office. I come from here. So I sent him up. And in the afternoon, I saw the teacher, and I said, how did he do? Oh, he was perfectly fine, beautifully behaved, paid attention, and passed the little quiz I had given out. Oh, okay. So I would give him 2 weeks. Then I would say, you know what? You're doing so well in math. What's the next class you would like to try? And they'd say, you know, if it was a boy, he might say science or something like that. Whatever they chose, I'd say, okay, fine, try the second one. By the end of the school year, I had half my class at least mainstreamed back into regular class, and the others at least part-time with 2 or 3 subjects. You could see when you looked at them the increase in their self-confidence. in their feeling that they could do something. I had parents and teachers tell one boy, "You're not going to be anything. You're going to be in jail just like your father." And I said to him, "You know what? You're not. Don't listen to that. It will destroy you." And they would listen to me because I was more pleasant to listen to. And sure enough, I would get them to the point where they could really stand on their own 2 feet. Now, I want to talk a little bit about physical disabilities and also cognitive disabilities. A child is a slow learner. The parents used to be, in America, ashamed. As special education developed, teachers were trained. I've had 6.5 years of training just in special education. Now it's nothing. "Oh, you know, your kid has a problem? Okay, fine, what class do you want them in?" And they go. What I'm running into here is kids who know they have a problem, parents in denial because of society. And what I tell the parent, your child is a gift to you, and it's your priority, not society. Let them talk. Who cares what they say? If you see your child has a problem, if your child has a fever, you go and you get medicine. If your child has this kind of problem, dyslexia or slow learner, whatever it is, who do you go to? You go to the counselor, and if there's a special needs teacher, and you see, where can this child best be placed so that they could develop to their fullest potential? But prior to that, you have to do what Preeti Srinivasan's father did for her. He believed in her. He encouraged her. He made her feel, you are worth something. The body is nothing but a shirt. You saw her spirit because it filled the room. And every single special ed kid can be brought to that level of self-confidence. Get rid of the anger, get rid of the guilt, get rid of the shame. If the support group, which is the parents, the teachers, family, and friends, make them believe they can. When you tell them they can't, if they don't get a teacher like me that points it out, you don't listen to that stuff, that teacher may reinforce, you can't do it, and put the kid in the back of the room. I had a boy here a couple of years ago. The whole school thought he was weird. He didn't talk to anybody. He had 2 friends that he would only talk to by phone at night, not in classroom. He would totally avoid them during the school day. Kids would be out in PT, he'd be hiding in a corner. He couldn't keep eye contact. He wouldn't talk much. Then one day a teacher came to me and said, "You know, that kid, he undresses me with his eyes." I said, "What are you talking about?" "He just stares at me like this." Something went on in my head. I said, "Boy, I know where this comes from." I thought I would have the hardest time getting the parents to have the boy tested, because every time I try to get a kid tested, I meet resistance. "No, you know, everybody will talk, our family, this, our family." I don't care about the family, I care about your child. So the mother came, and she was like defensive, ready for another argument with the principals or the teachers. So I met her, I talked to her, and I said, "You know, I want to plan something for your son, but I can't if I don't have an official professional diagnosis. Please get him tested." So she took him to Christian Medical College in Vellore. She came back after 2 weeks. They had to stay there. I said, "How did it go?" She said, "It went well, But they want me to come back in May at the time when kids come over the school break because we want to observe him with his peers. So I thought, I have to start bringing this up as a possibility. But how to put it where she doesn't go ballistic? I said, have you by any chance ever heard the term Asperger's syndrome? She turned around, she looked at me, and she said, Mataji, I think that's what they're testing him for. But they won't give me the test that we just completed with me. They want to wait to do the whole thing and give a full test. It came back with exactly what I said it was. She took him out of that school, put him in another school. He was totally accepted by everybody, principal, kids, everything, for his 11th and 12th. He is now in college becoming an occupational therapist. And his parents are so happy and so proud. I just got a note from his mom last week. This never would have happened if you hadn't noticed and took an interest in my son. So you see, it's just the heart. You give somebody, anybody, even an adult, your heart, and listen with your heart, you can feel and empathize, not sympathize, empathize with what they're going through. And I can't describe how it works. Something comes to you that would be of benefit to them, let me put it that way. So don't write off a kid. If you have a child with a disability or a friend that has a child with a disability, let them go and first accept the child, acknowledge it, and realize it's a gift. When I did my junior student teaching, I did it with mentally challenged kids, educable level. They were so sweet. I felt every day when I go home, they gave me so much. What did I give in comparison? I felt it was nothing. Why did I choose emotionally challenged? Because I've gone through my own stuff in life. I know what pain feels like. I know what rejection feels like. I know with why can't you be like so-and-so? And thank God I had a father like she had. Because my father and my maternal grandmother saved me from becoming emotionally crippled. So in closing, I just want to say, please remember that every kid has feelings. We talk about them sometimes like kids are a special species. They aren't. They're little small-sized human beings with the same emotional makeup. What makes you angry might not make me angry, but what makes me angry might not make you angry. But the anger is the common thing. The disappointment is the common thing. What I'm working with kids on now is every time you get angry, go back and ask yourself, what did I want or expect from this person or situation? I didn't get it. I was hurt. Hurt is not a comfortable feeling. Anger is socially acceptable. So when you flip over so quick, you miss the hurt. I make them go back, experience the hurt and release it, and then they're okay.